to AC 24/7, I'm Aaron Dean. Authorities in Virginia have located the civilian plane that crashed over the weekend near the George Washington National Forest. U.S. fighter jets responded to the incident and caused a sonic boom heard throughout the Washington D.C. area. John Lawrence reports.
Travis and Hannah Thornton were recording a song when something unexpected happened. That was a sonic boom caused by U.S. F-16 fighter jets as they attempted to reach a civilian aircraft Sunday.
This was something that was intentional, and they were trying to get to this airplane with the pilot who was not responding.
Officials from the North American Aerospace Defense Command say the sonic boom came after its craft were authorized to travel at supersonic speeds. The Federal Aviation Administration says the private plane left Tennessee and was headed to Long Island when at one point it changed directions, eventually crashing in Virginia.
The plane overshot its initial destination in New York by about 315 miles.
President Joe Biden was golfing at a course on Joint Base Andrews at the time. The U.S. Secret Service says its security posture for the president remained the same.
So it does not seem, at least right now, that this was something that was intentional. Not like something it was a terroristic act. This is something where the pilot was not responding and they had to send fighter jets to rule out some possibilities.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Officials in Sunnyvale, Texas are searching for the suspect involved in a shooting that killed one person this weekend. 4 were also injured. According to the Gun Violence Archive, this weekend alone, nearly 100 people died from shootings in the U.S. Doctors are comparing it to a deadly illness plaguing the nation. Josh Campbell reports.
This is the #1 cause of death of American children, which is just unacceptable and astonishing.
Those on the front lines saving children's lives, fed up with America's gun violence epidemic.
To you, gun violence is a disease.
Yes, and the country is the victim in this case.
The outrage felt by pediatrician Dr. Nicole Webb on display across the country this past weekend as demonstrators took to the streets demanding an end to the endless gun violence ravaging the nation.
Enough is enough.
Let's take it upon ourselves to inspire action so that students across the country can worry about homework and tests, not gun violence.
National Gun Violence Awareness Day began after the brutal killing of 15-year-old Hadia Pendleton on a Chicago playground in 2013. Murdered 1 week after marching with her school's band in a parade celebrating Barack Obama's second presidential inauguration. Pendleton's mother speaking out.
There have been thousands of other families that unfortunately have joined this fraternity that no one wants to be a part.
But tens of thousands more have been impacted since her daughter's death. More than 18,000 people have been shot and killed so far this year. The federal government calling gun violence a public health crisis. And while guns are often politically polarizing, most Americans surveyed in a recent CNN poll agree gun control laws should be stricter. American health professionals say common sense, evidence-based safety efforts should not be partisan at all.
States with red flag laws see fewer high-profile mass shootings. States that have closed loopholes in the background check system see fewer shootings involving illegally obtained weapons.
A recent troubling trend, guns in the hands of children. In recent weeks, at least 9 teens arrested for bringing guns on campus, including a Phoenix student arrested with an AR-15.
The most helpful thing anyone can do is store their weapons securely. Your child may be comfortable around the gun. It may even be something that you purchased as a gift. It may be something that's really important to your family. They have a bad day at school. They're feeling down, and they make a decision that they can't recover from.
But even basic evidence-based safety efforts have drawn the ire of America's gun lobby.
The NRA said in this tweet that someone should tell self-important anti-gun doctors to stay in their lane. How do you respond to that?
The only lane that matters is safety. Every American citizen should be free to live their life without the fear that they might be shot to death.
Are you anti-gun?
No, I'm not. Anyone who's actually really interested in what is going to keep a majority of people safe is not going to take that approach.
And while major national reforms remain stalled, the killing continues. Doctors have a grim analogy.
The story goes, somebody's sort of sitting, having a picnic by the river, and you start noticing a body floating down, stream. So you fish it out and, you resuscitate that person. And then a few minutes later, there's another one and another one. Pretty quickly, you stop trying to fish the bodies out of the river and you go upstream and try to figure out why they're ending up in the river in the first place. So we know gun violence is preventable, and yet we keep focusing on treating the aftermath.
Josh Campbell, CNN, Los Angeles.
YouTube says it will no longer remove content featuring false claims the 2020 U.S. presidential election was stolen. The announcement comes in the run-up to the 2024 presidential election, as former President Donald Trump, the current frontrunner in the Republican primary, continues to make claims about the previous election. YouTube says that it will promote election information from authoritative sources, and it will share how it's going to approach the 2024 election in the coming months. And Nikki Haley took some big swipes at Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis during CNN's town hall. The Republican presidential hopeful blasted DeSantis for his feud with Disney and Trump for buddying up with dictators while president.
I'm in this to win it.
Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley seeking to elevate her candidacy for president by calling for consensus on polarizing issues like abortion.
I think we can all agree on banning late-term abortions. I think we can all agree on encouraging adoptions and making sure those foster kids feel more love, not less.
At a CNN town hall in Iowa, she broke with two Republican frontrunners on key foreign policy issues like Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
You can't be trustful of a regime that goes in and tries to take away people's freedoms. And for them to sit there and say that this is a territorial dispute, that's just not the case. To say that we should stay neutral, it is in the best interest of America. It's in the best interest of our national security for Ukraine to win. We have to see this through. We have to finish it.
She called out Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' legal battle with Disney as hypocritical.
He went and basically gave the highest corporate subsidies in Florida history to Disney. But because they went and criticized him, now he's going to spend taxpayer dollars on a lawsuit.
Haley also said former President Donald Trump and DeSantis have not been straight with voters about the fiscal solvency of Social Security and other programs.
I think it's important to be honest with the American people. We are in this situation. Don't lie to them and say, oh, we don't have to deal with entitlement reform. Yes, we do.
At 51, Haley has said she would bring a generational change to the White House. Asked whether she believes she would experience sexism as a female candidate, she said this.
So none of my jobs have ever had a line going to the women's bathroom, ever.
But she drew applause when she said it was time to break the presidential glass ceiling.
I'm a big fan of women. We balance, we prioritize, we know how to get things done. I mean, honestly, we've let guys do it for a while. It might be time for a woman to get it done.
The town hall put an exclamation point on a busy weekend of campaigning in the state that opens the Republican contest early next year.
Well, hello, Iowa!
With DeSantis joining some of his Republican rivals as they shook hands and introduced themselves to party activists.
There is no substitute for victory.
Yet the former president looms large over the presidential race and sits at the center of the choices facing Republicans as the campaign intensifies.
What's the balance in your party, do you think, of people who want to turn the page and move forward versus turn back to Donald Trump?
I think there are a lot of folks that want to move forward. I know that President Trump has a great base here. It is strong. But at the same time, people don't want to hear about what has happened in the past because we've had 2 years of a Biden administration that is just destroying our nation.
And thank you for joining us for AC 24/7. For the Advocate Channel, I'm Aaron Dean.